Assalamualaikum everyone and good morning.
Salam, Doktor.
Just give me 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Selamat datang.
Okay. Assalamualaikum Miza, Puan Miza from Awang Salleh Graduate School. Are you there?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Because now it's raining, I'm in the library, so I'm afraid I got echo, so I'm mute.
Right. Okay. So I think if everyone is ready, then I would start. Okay. Okay, just give me a few minutes. Right. Again, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone, especially to our Deputy Dean of Awang Salleh Graduate School yang berusaha, Dr. Siti Nazwa Sailin. Thank you, Dr. Siti Nazwa, for the Awang Salleh to give me the opportunity to share some knowledge, all right, some experience that I have developing and supervising and guiding our postgraduate students to publish in high impact journals, Scopus journal. So inshallah, all right. Okay. I understand actually that there are many other academics or scholars at University Utara Malaysia who actually much more, I think, much more able to give some guidelines and advice to you. So at the beginning of this workshop, I just like to inform you that not just learning never stops, but you should also learn from other lecturers as well, right? So it's not like I know every single thing. No, I'm still learning. Okay, so so again, Alhamdulillah, right, with the grace of Almighty Allah, it is my greatest pleasure to welcome all of you to UUM for the Postgraduate Enhancement Workshop organized by Awang Salleh Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. Excuse me, can somebody Tian Hong Yan, could you please mute your microphone, or the organizer, please? Okay, so I've already said, first of all, I would like to welcome participants and postgraduate students from University Utara Malaysia, our SLCP staff and students, stands for School of Languages, Civilization and Philosophy, other local and international universities I could see from all over the world here. All right, thank you very much. So the aim of the workshop is to provide support and academic development of students in preparing themselves, all right, throughout the period of postgraduate studies, especially for research programs. So I hope by the end of these 2 our workshop, you would, gain certain knowledge about writing. Okay, all right. So let me introduce myself. So I'm going to share the slide for the workshop because I put there. All right. Okay, let me share. Okay. All right. Is my voice loud and clear to everyone?
Yes, doctor. It's louder.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Prof.
doctor.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so today's workshop it's gonna be writing research articles, concise, cohesive, and coherent. Okay, and these are the most important elements in academic writing, especially for writing research articles. Okay, concise, cohesive, and coherent. Right. I'm one of the senior lecturers at the School of Languages, Civilization, and Philosophy. I have worked at UUM for the past 30 years. All right. Okay, let me press this. Right. So these are some of the selected samples and background of speakers, of speaker. That's me. Sorry. Okay. I would talk more about in terms of my experience with the writing, just a little bit, okay? Of course, my specialized area is PhD Applied Linguistics, especially in language in context or looking at grammar in discourse, okay? Some of the articles that I have published with my PhD students, meaning, we work together, we look at the feedback by anonymous reviewers, and then we sat down. So we spend about 1 year to get it published. That's typical, right, for getting it published in Scopus. So when you submit, you have to be very patient and then wait. So this is just some, one is in Q1 Scopus with Dr. Naif Juma. That is a qualitative research, okay? And the second one, it's critical analysis of language planning and policy. So just published in April 2022 in Eurasian Journal of Applied Linguistics. The one in 2019, that is in Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. As we know, it's Q1, Scopus. And then the third one, if we have the time, this is not written by me, but with Dr. Effendi Shabdin. He's already retired, and this is really a quantitative research design published in Q3 Scopus Learn Journal. Okay, so part of my experience is as a reviewer for Scopus journals such as Britannica, published by UPM, and then 3L, Language, Literature and Linguistics from UKM. If I'm not mistaken, it's Q2, I think, Scopus. And then I've been supervising master's dissertation and PhD thesis, as well as thesis examiners, master by research examiner, and I'm also editor-in-chief for Malaysian Journal of Applied Linguistics. It's not Scopus, it's a referate, all right? It's just working on its first volume. And then finally, I'm also a lead research consultant for national research 2021 to 2023. Okay, right. So I think that should be enough for some background. Okay, so are we ready now to, all right, about this? Right, Okay, thank you, Mr. Siva. I could see hands up there. All right. So the first one that we should know about writing research article. Okay, thank you, Fatin, Atira. Good writing is clear thinking made visible. Okay, all right. Thank you, Annie. So it's important when we want to write. What are you trying to do is how can you communicate, all right, your content to the readers. So the first thing that we should have in mind is who's going to be the audience of your writing. Okay, so for your article writing in journals, especially of course in high impact journals, you have to remember that the reviewers are experts in your area. Okay, and that's why the writing need to be very clear. Okay, and through your writing people can see whether have you got everything confused and we don't understand what you are talking about. Okay, so so I think this quotation by Bill Wheeler is really sort of like really encapsulate what we are trying to do here. Okay, so good writing is clear thinking made visible. So the more drafts that you do, then your thinking becomes clearer and you know what you'll be writing about. Okay, all right, let's look at the next one. Okay, what is research article versus thesis writing? Okay, I wish I could have the Mentimeter here. All right, okay, thank you, Muhammad Adu. All right, can I see some writing here? What is it about research article that is different from thesis writing? I don't consider you having zero knowledge about this. Some of you might just want to find out more about this. Okay, can you please type in the chat box either about research article or about thesis writing? Okay, thank you. Yes, article is shorter than thesis. Absolutely. All right, very good to highlight that one. Okay, right. Article, compress of thesis. Thank you, Zakia Habib. Yes, all right, because you have limited space for your article. It might be about 7,000 to 8,000 words or 7,000 words. And then normally for research article, we would write the findings of your thesis, your research for your thesis, maybe just for one of the research objectives, one of the research question. You can't afford to write, okay? Right, okay, thank you, Genhua. Thesis is more comprehensive, exactly, all right? And that's why you have to write it really in detail, all those relevant parts, right? Thank you, Yanga. You need to explain and you need to justify. But when it comes to article writing, you have to put those findings that are related for that one research question, put it together, all right? And then you're gonna have it as a research article. A good PhD thesis should be able to produce publishable articles. So from my own experience supervising my one of my PhD student who graduated on time, Dr. Naif Juma. Based on his PhD thesis supervised by me, we managed to publish about, I think, 4 or 5 research articles in Scopus journals, Q1 and Q2 journals. It really a good quality of research. Okay, any more that you would like to have here? Okay, all right, don't worry, it's okay, right? So the important thing is very important to understand what is research article compared to thesis writing, okay? Because I remember one of my student, he already graduated, he argued with me when I said that in your thesis, you have to write, expand more, justify. And then he told me, this is a real life conversation. And then he asked me, but then in this article, it's only short, and that's where I realized I have to really highlight the difference between research article writing and thesis writing. Okay, all right. Okay. Now let's look at the title itself. Okay. Concise, cohesive, and coherent. These are adjectives, right? These are adjectives. Of course, the noun forms of these words would be conciseness, cohesiveness, and coherence. Conciseness, cohesion, S-I-O-N, and coherence, R-E-N-C-E. That's the nouns for this, okay? But I purposely use adjectives, concise, cohesive, and coherent. Like I mentioned earlier, these are very important quality that you need to have in your writing. Maybe not at the beginning, okay? That's why you would have several drafts. Remember, the reader of your articles would be the experts. So you don't want to waste their time by not writing clearly or concisely, and also logical, linking all your ideas, all your sentences. So we need to make it acceptable with minor corrections. Okay, so don't expect only the first draft would be enough for you to get it accepted for publication. It needs refinement, editing, revision, and proofreading. Okay, I'm not trying to demotivate you, but that is the way how your writing becomes clear. Okay, right. The first, let me see. Just want to see in the chat for a while. Hayati Juso said, thesis is a process and research is a finding. Very interesting there. Okay. And of course, research is also a process, isn't it? Right? Which you start with the problem statement. The abstract thesis abstract relatively longer than article. Okay, that's true. Okay, thank you. Now, the word concise, meaning the writing needs to be clear, and it doesn't include unnecessary or vague, unclear, ambiguous. You're not sure what it's all about, right? We're going to look some samples later. So that's for conciseness, okay? Now, cohesion or cohesive here, what does it mean in writing, in academic writing? The sentences should be connected at the sentence level using discourse markers, okay? Not necessarily discourse markers. There are other ways to do it as well. Okay, we're going to do one or two exercises on this. And it focuses on the grammar. For example, the words, the phrases, the clauses, and the sentences. They are all linked together nicely. Okay. And then another level of writing is coherent. Okay, meaning that the coherent refers to the ideas. Cohesive or cohesion refers to the text level, meaning the sentences, the words, the phrases, the clauses, the sentences that you write, they are all logically related. But coherent is at the higher level, the discourse level, okay, when ideas are connected, how the ideas of the text flow logically and make a text semantically meaningful. Semantically meaning you understand the meaning, okay, as a whole, all right? Let me just give you an example about what happened when it's not coherent, okay? There are some Scopus submission articles when I'm one of the reviewers appointed by the Scopus journals. I found that one of the issues is that when it comes to coherence, you can detect, even the experts in the area can see, for example, you have written certain ideas or argument in your first or second paragraph. And then when we read your work towards the end, either in your discussion or in your conclusion, your ideas are in contrast. It contradicts to what you have written in the first paragraph without any justification. Okay, so that would be incoherent, meaning that what are you trying to say? For example, you mentioned that your research utilized this framework or this school of thought, but then when you analyze or when you discuss, you did not relate to the first part that you have mentioned. So it's disconnected, incoherence, okay? And that is very serious in terms of article writing. It's not coherent. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Okay, all right. I'm just having certain quotation here. If writing is your practice, okay, if writing is your practice, then the only way to fail is not to write. So that's why with my PhD students especially, I always encourage them not to play the game of writer's block. You cannot have writer's block for 6 months, all right? Meaning that whenever you have that kind of problem, you just have to write, even it's only the cover page, and then you will be smiling. Your thesis will be submitted December 2022. And then maybe next year you change it into February 2023. I mean, every single day you need to have to cultivate that culture, okay, your writing habits, all right? Okay, so please make sure that you write and you submit to your supervisors, okay? If not, you'll be wasting your tuition fees by not giving the supervisors work to do, okay? That's another way to see it if you do not write or submit anything, okay, throughout your first year, second year, okay? All right, now let's see some of the writing strategies that we can do in terms of the pre-writing, okay? Now, I'd like you to have a look at this one. Let me just exit this. Maybe, okay. Can you see it clearly for this? Okay, these are examples by Pickett and McDonald, 2017, about the art and science of writing. Okay. I'm with my speaker here. Is my voice still clear, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
it's
Prof.
clear.
Yes,
Yes,
it's clear.
Professor.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now these are the sticky notes. How you can organize. All right, organize, categorizing all your ideas. Okay, to remind yourself, what you need to do. Academic writing should be linear, no spelling, grammar. Identify a publishable story. Follow journals instructions. Well, actually, these are the contents, the ideas of that particular paper on the art and science of writing a publishable article. Okay, so somehow this is a very good. I will share with you, or I'll give you the name of the authors. It is very good. It's not very specific to any areas, even though these two are from Faculty of Ecology, right? But the strategies that they have shared with us in their writing, it's very, very good. Okay, text should flow and be easy to read. Don't use bombastic words. The important thing about writing is that it has to be concise, meaning clear. Avoid jargon and acronyms. Okay, of course, not totally avoid. Those people in my area, for example, you might use the word ESL, English as a second language, or TESOL, right? Or it can be SLA, second language acquisition. So whatever acronyms that you have, make sure that you write in full at the beginning. Okay, follow journal instruction. That is the most important thing. So pre-writing, if you work with your supervisor and you have identified the journals that you're going to submit, the first thing is to read the sample of the articles, maybe from certain volumes. Have a look at those writing. If possible, find the one which are related to your area of research. So if it's on socioculture, for example, or if it's on information technology, so you find that. Okay, all right. So these are the strategies. What we write about is complex, but writing should be simple. You might have quite complex thought there, but when it comes to writing, it has to be simple. Okay, address gaps in knowledge. Okay, that is, of course, you have that research gap. Comprehensive and up-to-date references. Yes. Okay, no spelling, grammar, or syntax errors. This is where you need to go through that 3 levels of editing. Okay, if you want to get it accepted for publication, they don't want to read with a lots of grammar or spelling mistakes. That shows that we are not serious about publishing. Remember, the audience, the reviewers, they are quite busy people, and they would like to focus on the content, not trying to be your editors. So if your English is not really up to the level, and then you need to find someone who can help you to edit or proofread your work. Okay, so revise your manuscript and resubmit quickly. If they ask you to submit within 2 weeks, make sure that you submit before 2 weeks. Okay, meaning maybe 10 days or 11 days, but if it's so simple, then you can just do it. Okay, so I think these are all very interesting. Okay, but I would like to highlight the word well-supported, robust, reliable, conclusion. When we say well-supported, your writing should have the citations. Okay, robust meaning very clear about your methodology. Okay, and then reliable meaning your findings are reliable, and the conclusions based on the findings that you have. So you're not gonna make over claiming something. Okay, right. Now let's look at the next one. Okay, because the title is about writing research articles, so I'm not going to focus on what is a problem statement. You have that in your research methodology class and academic writing class. But what I'm trying to share with you today is the kind of writing processes that you need to do. Okay, and then with some examples here. I believe that, not just I believe, in fact, I practice it with my students and also my own papers. You need to go through 3 levels of editing, meaning revising and editing your work. The first one is once you have got that manuscript ready, of course, do not submit that yet. All right. First, you need to check the formatting. Have you followed the format by that specific journal? If MJLI, okay, our Q1, one of the Q1 Scopus journal, okay, they expect you to write the abstract in such a way, what is the research gap, what is the methodology, then you have to follow that. All right, no issues about that. Okay. So mechanics, when I say mechanics, we are talking about your punctuation, your spelling. All right, so this level 1 of editing should be done. Okay. And also grammar and also paraphrasing, of course, with citation. If you have so many direct quotation, then it's not going to be a very good paper, right? So you need to paraphrase what you have written there. Okay. And of course, with the Turnitin, all right, with the Turnitin, it can, of course, helps you to identify, what you have written there. Okay, so conciseness is very important. Okay, if you say, I like fruits, that is not concrete enough, right? And then you say, I like apples. Okay, a bit concise there. But if you say that I love Washington red apples, that is much more concise and much more, right, concrete. Okay, so that is the first level of editing that you need to do. Okay, right. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next level 2 of editing, okay, checking all the facts. I call it level 2 of editing. This is what I do with my PhD students. Normally, I would have it depending on the quality of the papers. But recently, the one for April 2022 publication, starting June last year, we worked on that together. And I think I spent almost like 8 hours online, one sitting, looking at it for 2 hours. And then after that, maybe another 2 hours after the corrections have been done. So you need to check all the facts, whether it's true or not. And also you need to cross-check your citation and references. If you have certain tables with numbers, make sure that you check all those numbers, all right? So that they add up, logically according to what, so you don't misquote or anything, okay? So that would be the second level of editing, where you check your citation, all the facts. We said all the facts. For example, you said that in Nigeria, the English medium started in what? You have to be clear. Is that true? Is that correct? So you need to check which citation that mentioned that it started in 1956, for example. Okay, this is one of the things when I said facts, right? Okay, any other aspect that you need to find out. So that is very important. Remember, they are experts in that area. So, all right. So you don't want to make a fool of them in terms of the facts there. Okay, let's look at the next one. About concise, cohesive, and coherence, meaning conciseness comes first, all right? And then after that, you're going to look at the cohesion, okay, whether they all link together or not. And then the level 3 of editing is the coherence, right? So how do you ensure that the writing is coherent? Hello?
Maintenance.
All right. I thought someone is talking to me. Right. There are various ways to ensure coherent writing. The first one, the sentences that flow, you need, how you want to make it a very good one. You have different range of lengths and structure, meaning that you don't use the study used quantitative research design. The study utilize 100 participants in the study. So if you have that kind of sentence structure, okay, that needs to be revised. You have to connect all those sentences together, okay, and then, right? So it's important to have varying means different lengths and different structure. So you might need to say that the study utilized 100 participants, which hello? Did someone want to ask question? Okay, all right. Okay, the next thing is you can use simple transition or discuss markers like in addition, furthermore, therefore, on the contrary, okay, at the same time, in other words, right? Repeat your keywords, but be careful of excessive repetition, right? For example, you have the word lexical items, and then you use that too many times, okay? So that also needs a revision. Okay, the other one is repeat sentence structures, which is used as a rhetorical technique rather than cohesion to highlight parallelism between sentences. Okay, that is a high level, so we might need to look at an example for that when you repeat certain sentence structure. Okay, when we say sentence structure, is it not just subject, verb, object, like I did the research or the students were interviewed. So you use that so many times, you know, that sentence structures, passive. The interviews were conducted, the students were asked. If you use that most of the time, that is not also good coherence there, okay? Thematic consistency, we know that every writing, you have the subsection, okay? Then you need to make sure that it's consistent from the first subheading to the last one. And then you can start every sentence of paragraph with information that hints at the content of the next sentence. So that also helps in putting all your ideas together, okay? So you can say that the research design for this study is quantitative or mixed method research design. So when you announce that, we know that the next sentences would be about your justification of mixed method and also how you design that, okay, which type of mixed method research methodology that you are using. Okay. The next one is about revising and refining research articles. I use the term revising and refining. One of the example is that besides you you paraphrase or rephrase at the sentence level, if it's at coherence level, you might want to add more justification to support your argument. You might be checking throughout your paragraphs, are you consistent with your argument from the first paragraph? If you say that culture plays an important role in sociocultural theory, for example, all right, and then we expect that in your conclusion or in your discussion, you would highlight about how the cultural components are actually being highlighted or emphasized in your research. That is just one of the example. A good reviewer can find not just what is there that you have written, but what is not there, meaning the missing links, the missing ideas. So good reviewers normally would be very critical and point that out to you. What happened to this argument? How come it has not been followed up in other part? Okay, so right, now let's look at the other one. Okay, I have some samples later. Okay, let me see where we are. All right, let me escape here. Okay, this is just a very simple one. We say, I like fruits, I like apples. I purposely just use this very simple to drive home the importance of that conciseness. So if you have something like this, it is not enough because it's so general, right? So in article writing, it has to be very specific, right? Somebody said suara doktor hilang sekejap. Is it okay now? Hayati
Okay,
Joseph?
doctor.
Oh, okay, all right. At any time, if something, let me know, okay? You can't hear well. All right. So, anybody would like to write what else can you say about I like apples? Besides, I said I like Washington red apples because it's so crunchy. See, I have added more words to justify why I like that one. Okay, so you need to put that together. Okay, satu slide tadi tak ada bunyi. Slide apa ya? Which slide is that, Hayati?
Saya dah record slide tu. Tapi suara doktor tak bunyi.
Oh, all right. Do you remember the title of the slide?
Dah lupa dah, galik salin kan. Tak apa doktor, tak apa tinggal pun.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank
Okay,
you,
terima
Hayati.
kasih.
Sama. All right. Okay, let's look at the next one. I need to check the times. So that, okay, all right. Okay, let me make it. Okay, this is for cohesion. All right. What do you see from the first sentence and to the second sentence? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, all right. Who would like to, either you type or you can just unmute yourself and then tell me, what do you see between these two sentences? The computer has been invaluable in scientific advancement. But the second one, computers are playing a growing role in all aspects of university life.
The first sentence is too general. The second one more specific.
Ah, wonderful. All right, very good. And somebody put there two different main ideas, and then this is very general, isn't it? Okay. Right. Okay. Let me put here. Okay. If I miss some of your writing there, let me know. Yes. So when you write, especially for your here for, I think it might be for your abstract or your introduction, don't just say the computer has been invaluable in scientific advancement. It doesn't say much about what you want to write. Okay. if your article is about blended learning, for example, blended learning in education, all right, and you want to start by saying this, computers are playing a growing role in all aspects of university life. I would say that it is still quite general for what you are doing. So meaning that if your title is about blended learning, instead of saying university life, what should you say to make it into a much more relevant? It is an example of rephrasing, rewriting. So you might want to say computers are playing a growing role in what? In digital revolution, in teaching in university, teaching and learning, isn't it? All right. If your research is about that, so meaning that you're not going to write something like this. Even we see that the second sentence is much more specific than the first one, but still you can make it much more concrete by thinking about what your research is about. So if your research is about the use of blended learning or maybe certain digital software, that you should include that. You need to insert that in your sentence so that when you write, it must be relevant to what your research is about. Don't just make it, too simple. It's so ambiguous. Because, okay, let me tell you what happened to the readers or reviewers when I receive manuscripts from Scopus journals. When we read even your first sentence, we would be asking, how is this sentence relate to what you are trying to tell me about your research? Okay, so that's why if your research is about blended learning, then your introductory sentence should be related to that, even if you don't want to say exactly which software you are using. I'm imagining you are writing a paper on that. Okay. All right, now let's look at another activities here. Towards the end, I'm gonna show you what happened in my students' work, how much changes you can see from the first draft, and then later second or third draft, and then finally I'll share with you the published version. All right, so it has gone through quite a number of things. Now, what I would like you to do now here is, can you identify, okay, not asking you to rewrite, can you identify the connectors, how it is cohesive? What are the words that you can see for this particular sentence? I know that it's about second language communicative competence, okay? Involves both knowledge of linguistic elements and the knowledge that is required for appropriate out to use in different contexts. Here we call it cohesive devices, DEVICES, devices or tools here, not devices or the gadgets, right? But what we are trying to tell, can you see what are the words that the author has used to put the logical flow of this? All right. Let me give you an example. The word both, B-O-T-H, in the first sentence, right? That is one of the cohesive markers, or one of the cohesive that can put it together. So when you have the word involves both knowledge of linguistic elements and the knowledge that is required. So even by having the word both, it helps, right? Any other words that you can see? Right. Okay, it's okay. It's sort of like language exercises here. I'll just give you the answer, All right, let's have a look. Next one. Oops. Okay, so these are the answers, meaning that these are the, we would call it cohesive, right, markers. The first one is both, that number one. Linguistic elements, having plural, two, and then, sorry, the word and, A-N-D, you put the two sentences, and then can you see that it's quite compact. Second language communicative competence involves, okay, communicative competence refer to your ability to do something with the language, okay. Number one, the word both. The second one is, of course, the conjunction and, conjunction, to put the two ideas there. Three, the knowledge, okay, knowledge, you're repeating that first one there. And then that, number four, that is required for appropriate LTUs in different context. Okay, the word that, T-H-A-T. Okay, in this chapter, we have surveyed the integrated rules of linguistics, comma, right? So the word comma there, cognitive, and then you have comma, and then also N, okay? Number 7, we have looked in more depth. We have looked. So that tells, you know, we have looked at that, at components of language, okay? That must be accounted for. That must be accounted for. Okay. And then, of course, the word we have explored, meaning the previous paragraphs, you might have discussed on that certain item. So you use the word we have explored without repeating yourself. Okay. We have explored, and then what knowledge accounts. Okay, knowledge accounts, meaning that kind of knowledge explain or describe about learner ability to participate. Okay, and then of course the word and, again, A-N-D, and then the word it is acquired. How it here refers to second language communicative competence without mentioning the whole thing. We are talking about how we acquire that language ability. This is writing in applied linguistics, I think. Okay, all right. I know that 2 hours won't really, what do you call that, justify, but at least you've got my idea there, all right. Now let's look at the next one. So here I have a question and answer, but not yet. Okay, let's, I'll stop sharing this. Okay, now what I would like to share with you are some samples of drafts that I have. Okay, right, let me find that, share, oops. Let me find the document. Right, just be a bit patient. I need to open the document first. At this point, do you have any question? Okay, right. If you don't have, let me share this. I've already opened it. Right, share. Okay, this is for my for me and my student publication in Eurasian Journal of Applied Linguistics, Q2 Scopus. Okay, so this is the one that I received back in June, I think June or May 2021, right? Meaning sort of like first draft here. So the title, critical review, and of course the writing itself, even the name of the unit of my, you can see the grammar, the mechanics. Can you see example here? School of Languages, Civilization and Philosophy.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell, this is the first draft, right? The first draft, the students have written this and then we sat down together. And of course, the first thing I would tell the student is that level 1 of editing. We are not going to go really into the content yet until you try to get this thing correct, okay? So School of Languages, just an example, capital L, civilization, C, and then I ask the student, is the journal, this Q2 Scopus, does it use American spelling or British? All right. Then if it's American, then it's okay. If it's American using American spelling, then it's okay with the Z or Z here. But if it's using British English, then it needs to be changed to S. Okay. And then University Utara Malaysia, we are proud of the spelling in Malay. So not TY, that is English. We want it university with the TI. So that needs to be corrected as well. Some people said, what is it in the name? No, this is very important. It's about our image. So it's copyright University Utara Malaysia. And then this is my faculty, School of Languages, Civilization and Philosophy. So if we look at the abstract, okay, of course, I'm not going to go through everything here. So there are quite a number of things which needs to be corrected. And when I give my feedback to my student, I would use colors to show I've already changed this part. This is the one that you need to make it correct. This article aims at presenting a critical, see, spelling here, a critical, should be separated with the word critical. So you don't want to have that kind of errors when you submit to the editors of that journal. They will just say, this is not good, all right? So you need to work on that, okay? Okay, let me just, again, okay, let me see, what else? This is first one. All right, I'm just giving you some examples about the conciseness. The classroom practice, this word, okay, to the heart of the onion. Let me use a color there. No, maybe this color. Okay, and make it bigger. All right. Okay, can you see on your slide? Sorry, can you see on your screen, the one that I highlighted? Okay, thank you, Siva. All right. So this student actually he's very good in English, but I have to guide him in terms of how to make it much more concise. You're not writing a novel, all right? This is academic writing. So to the heart of the onion. Of course, I understand what he's trying to say, but in academic writing, we have to make it much more, all right? Instead of to the heart, maybe need to write what exactly, maybe it's the main component, the core component. You can use that to rephrase the word to the heart of the onion. Unless you're writing for newspaper column, it is acceptable, but for writing, no, okay? Another one that I just want to give you an example, the word try, okay? This is at word level. Try, it's it sounds not really academic. So you use the word attempted, attempted, okay? Yang Gang said about colloquial, right? So you can, it is English, of course, but at least use the word attempted, and it is not so bombastic. It's still simple English sentence there, okay? All right. What else? Just like the word this, so the word put it, as Lidicode and Baldock 2008 put it, maybe what? As Lidicode and Baldock observe or define or what, but not the word put it. Okay, let me see, are there any other parts? So that is the first level of editing, right? Where you are concerned about the grammar, the mechanics, the spelling. Okay. Right. I remember in the first draft, this might be the second one, I cannot remember. You have the table, everything, but then the source is not there. Where did you get this information? So I did ask him to find out, where did you get this? So he went back to his articles, not his, but what I meant is the literature review collected articles. Okay, so he got it from the Statistic Division, Government of Pakistan, 2001. All right, I'll stop sharing this and then show you another draft. Baba Lola Oroyo, do you have question? I saw you raise your hand, or did you accidentally? Hello, Baba Lola, do you have question?
No, Prof. I don't have
No,
question.
okay. Then you have to click back so that we don't see the emoji. Okay, thank you very much, Baba Lola. All right. Okay, let me show you another draft, which is I received. Okay, I have to share this. Tell me whether you like the color or not, and then I'll change the color if it's too striking. Share. Okay. Right. So the next one is about language planning and policy in Pakistan. Okay. See, the student has corrected School of Languages, Civilization, British, English, Philosophy, and then also the word University Utara Malaysia. Okay. This is. Do you like this color, green, or you prefer black and white? Okay, maybe I put no color. Okay, so this is a much better version compared to the first one. Okay, let's see. And whenever my student included new things, then I would ask him to make it a different color so that I can see what is it being done. I do save all my students' drafts so that I can see the development. Okay. All right. There's no more the word of that heart of onion anymore. Okay. Right. So even the word similarly, it covers your coherence of ideas. The first one is contextual cannot be considered without political, social, cultural, economic. And then this is Polsky 2004. And then by using the word similarly, we understand that the argument is still the same. All right, the argument for that. Okay. This one I just to highlight, right? So I did ask him at the end of the first, the introduction, what is you are trying to do with your paper? So the current research aims at what? Okay, so that will relate to the purpose of your writing. So you cannot just talk about the background of the research without mentioning exactly what is it. So it will facilitate the readers in analyzing the issues, why the indigenous language communities feel left out. So this is about socio-linguistic issues. Okay, right. I'll stop sharing this and then I'll show you the published version. Sample. Okay, thank you for your patience. All right, I'll share with you what is being published. Right. Is it proper to use? Okay, I'll look at that in a minute. You're talking about grammar software. Okay, this is the one that got published in the Eurasian Journal, April 2022, a critical analysis of the language planning and policy in Pakistan. Okay, so can you see received 18 November 2021, but we started our work back in May, June, July, and then submitted 18 November 2021 and then revised, okay, because we have already revised so many times our own before we got it. By the time we submitted, it's only a little revision, so being received on the 7th of April, and there was a bit more, I think, needs to be done, and then finally accepted on the 26th April 2022. Okay, so even the abstract, instead of starting with the aims of the article, we start with this: a well-devised formulation of language planning and policy creates a sense of ownership among speakers of all languages. Meaning, what is the purpose of language planning and policy? And then only we talk about that this article is presenting a critical analysis of language planning and then the impact to the minority languages or indigenous languages of Pakistan. Okay, and then of course we talk about the effect. Okay. In the intro, we have also changed by writing what is the definition of the term of the language policy and why is it a problem. Okay. Can you see the word both here? Language policy may do both. This is to avoid repetition. The first few drafts did have lots of repetition. So you have talked about the need for language policy also emerges, and then you use the term you use the words language policy may do both, since so you're referring to there are two actions here, linguistic imperialism and linguistic genocide. Okay, so language policy can make certain language has certain values in a country, or it can also be the dooms of that language, linguistic genocide. If you say that, you know, you cannot use this language or that language, okay? That's what it meant, something about linguistic genocide. All right, so this is of course a much better and it has gone through that 3 levels of NACI. See the word attempted, the one that I suggested, don't use the word tried, but use the word attempted. Hornberger, T. Risento, attempted to make better sense. Multi-layered onion, I have to see, is the heart of onion still there? Metaphor, the equated mid-layer. Oh, it's still there, to the heart of the onion. They don't mind. Okay. All right. Right, now, let me see in the chat box if I can, before I show you the Q1 journal article that we got to publish. We worked on it, I think, for almost 1 year and a half. Saidu said, is it proper to use grammar software to edit an article or to refer the article to a language specialist for editing before final submission for publication? I think this is very good question, Saidu Mansur Adam. One of the things is that, do you have the luxury, the money to pay this language specialist? That's one of the first question, right? If you have, no problem. Yeah, you can give it to that. But if you have the ability to understand, you want to use grammar software, yes, you can also use it. But I would say that even if you use grammar software, you still need to read so that the meaning that you are trying to say is there. Okay, sometimes that's what happens when you use I know there are quite a number of software to check, and then the language becomes so robotic. One of the reasons maybe in my case is my specialized area, English grammar in discourse, English grammar in context. And some of this grammar software, after they have edited, you cannot just leave it just like that. You still need to reread what that grammar software has done. Sometimes it can be quite funny because they use, I think, mathematical programming, devices there, and sometimes the flow is missing. So you need to be careful with that. Okay, if you have the money to submit it to a language specialist, okay, but please don't submit to me. All right, because I'm really have lots of thesis to read. Okay, but if it's just like overall, that one is okay. But to go into detail like I did with my PhD student, maybe I wouldn't be able to do that, even if you want to pay me whatever. I think I cannot do that. But the reason why we are having this, so that you are aware about this level of editing. And even if you have submitted to a language specialist, make sure that the argument that you are trying to propose in that article writing, the meaning is there and it is not missing or disconnected. So remember, it's your work. So you cannot expect everyone to correct everything that you have written. So you need to be responsible as well. Okay. Good question. Let's look at any other question. No, no, no. All right, then I can share with you qualitative research in my in the Q1. Okay, let me open it. Where is it? Okay. All right, I found it. Now let me share with you. Okay, share. This is the first, I think, yeah, the first or the second article. The first version of this article, it was rejected by Q2 because of problems with the clarity. When I say clarity, they're not sure about the data that we are analyzing, and we thought that we have been very clear about that. So that is a very good lesson for my student and also me looking at this. So what we did was we improve on that, and we make it very clear how the data, the way we describe the data really shows clearly, all right? So just to let you know, before this was published in Q1, of course with a different, slightly different title, and that particular Q2 journal, Q2 or Q3, Q2 journal rejected with the reason that they could not understand about the data that we are analyzing, all right? So that gave us this experience of what you are writing is very important for the reader to understand what it is actually. So my student and I, we did not feel demotivated. We wanted to say that this is a very good piece of paper. It's just that because you are not clear about the way we write, did not give you the idea about what we are analyzing. So we changed the way we write that, and we submitted to the Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction 2017, not 2019. In 2016, we submitted in 2016, and we received a very good review from anonymous professors, okay, which made both of us really look at it. And then I remember we worked on the revision because we have that deadline. You need to submit within 2 weeks' time. So after my administrative work as the former Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs, so we sat down from 5 to 7 p.m. face-to-face before COVID time, right? So meaning that commitment is very important. Do you want to get this published or not? All right. Dr. Naif graduated within 3 years, I think 3.5 years, submitted everything within 3 years, and then doing all the viva correction, minor correction. So he graduate on time, and also with 4 Scopus articles published in Q1, in Q2, Q1 and Q2 article. Right, so this is EFL doctoral students, perspective of EFL doctoral students on challenges of citations in academic writing. So the research is, of course, applied linguistic, and just to show you purpose, methodology, we followed exactly, all right, the findings, the significance, and also the keywords, the introduction, all right. Just to show you about the patterns of the study. So you can see Huing's 2010, 2011, 2013, 2011, okay. And then this article, of course, have been cited by many people now. right? Many scholars, other scholars. And I just want to show about, what is it? About how compact the writing needs to be, okay? Citing info from articles, thesis can be challenging, right? Those of you can also read this as information about your academic writing. Citation practices may vary across discipline, right? Highland, we do have one very related article, Joma and Bidin, 2016. This is also Scopus, and I think it's Australian Journal of Applied Linguistics, 2016. Okay. And with the world, and then a particular citation on the Arabs. And then in the end, before lit review, you can see, therefore, this study focused on the citation process during writing the literature review chapter of PhD proposal. It explored, the word explored means it's qualitative, right? What made citation challenging for Arab non-native writers of English who was studying in an information technology department at a Malaysian public university. Can you imagine? This whole research actually, he looked at citation by PhD student in information technology as well as in applied linguistics. We call it hard science and soft science. Okay. Of course, we're not going to look into detail, but this is a very good writing with so many drafts, and the way we write is very compact, and then paraphrasing is vital in academic writing. It can also be challenging. So you have the citation to support what your argument. Okay. All right, so this is all about what students do with language, and then the methodology. I just want to show the sampling to show the details, right? With 6 male participants. The country, Yemen student, these are all UUM students actually, Jordanian, Iraqi, Syrian, Iraqi, Libyan, Yemen, their age, their degree, IT, and then their length of the interview. So we make it really specific, and of course, okay, right. I'll stop this one. Okay, let me see if there are any questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I saw
Hello, Prof.
Ahmad Shamil. Yep. Okay, is that Mustafa Al-Haji Bila?
Yes, Prof.
All right, yes. What is your question?
Now, my question is in writing the title of the article. Is it the body now? Is it that you have to write the title before writing the body, or after completing the body of the work, then it is now you write the title of the article?
Ah, I see. Okay, very good question, Mustafa. Thank you very much. Based on my experience, okay, of 17 years of supervising PhD student at UUM and also guiding them publish their work, I would say that you need to have a tentative title. All right, that would give you an idea, something to, to sort of like put your mind into it, what actually you are writing. Okay, so I would say that it's good to have a title, sort of like giving you the guidance, so that when you are writing, you are moving the direction, your argument towards that. You want to make your ideas coherent. They are all linked nicely. Now, after you have written the whole thing, you can go back to your title and then see whether what you have written really reflects the title that you have utilized. So don't consider that whatever that you have given the title is going to be the final one. Okay, Mustafa? So I would suggest that you need to have that tentative title at the beginning of your writing. You don't just start with abstract and then intro. You need to have at least, a tentative title for that. Okay, Mustafa?
Yes, Prof.
Have I
Thank you.
answered your question? All right. Thank
The
you.
answer.
Okay. Right. Any other question that anyone would like to ask before I continue looking in the chat box?
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, who's that?
Yeah, it's Wada.
Wada. Okay, yes, Wada.
Doctor, in publishing in Scopus Journal, this Q1, Q2 you mentioned, which one is highly rated?
Oh, of course. If it's based on that quarterly, the percentile, of course, Q1 is highly rated compared to Q2. Let me just give you an example of the situation because I'm in the editorial board, chief editor. As far as I know, for example, in Q1 journals, for each volume, they would normally receive about 500 or 600 plus manuscripts, and then your journal, your article, your manuscript has been chosen to be published with correction. So can you imagine the level of recognition that you get once you submit a very good quality work, not just a good quality of research, very robust, but the way you write also very good, and you get it published, and all the other 500 manuscripts have been rejected, but yours is being accepted. That's what it's like when you are able to publish in Q1, and that's why they give the percentile as the top one, Q1, all right? But I think for PhD at UUM, you can also publish in Q2 and also Q3. And for supervisors, normally they would know the quality of the students' work. Whether when I said quality, we are talking about the quality of your data and of your writing, especially the quality of the research itself. Do you want to try Q3 or do you want to try Q2? I know this particular student, I just said just target Q1 because I know it's a very good piece of research. So we have Q1 and Q2 article. Okay, Wada, have I answered your question?
Doctor, yeah, you have answered me. Another question I have is, before a PhD student can graduate from UUM, must you publish Scopus Journal or you can publish in any other journal?
Okay, my first question is, Wada, are you a PhD student at UUM right now?
Yeah, doctor, I'm a PhD student in UUM.
Okay, Dr. Siti Nazwa, I think, is here, but from what I understand, all PhD students, they need to publish in one, they need to publish one research article in Scopus Journal, Q1, Q2, or Q3, with their supervisor, not alone, right? So they need to co-author, all right, publish together with the supervisor, and then only you can submit, intend to submit, which would trigger the process of submitting your thesis, your final draft of the thesis within 3 months, right? So when you want to submit, intend to submit, you must show the evidence that you have published your article in Scopus. So I would advise when you are in second year of your PhD, those of you who are full-time students, second year is a good time after you've done your pilot study or after you have done your main data collection, then you should start writing. You must give time to work on your article, all right? And then you have to be patient. Some you are lucky, you get 6 months, then it will be published with some correction. Some people would take about 1.5 years, or it can be 1 year, all right? But make sure that you do all that levels of editing that I mentioned to you, because to make sure that the higher probability of getting your manuscript accepted is by polishing. All right, I use this by polishing and refining your work. You cannot submit your work with a lot of silly mistakes, what we call it like laziness, and then you didn't do the cross check, you did not check the APA formatting for the bibliography or references. So that needs to be done. You don't expect the editors to do it for you. So if you do that together with your supervisor, all right, yes, you would get that opportunity to be for your work to be published in Scopus Journal. Okay, Wada?
Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Doc
Okay.
Doctor, for UUM student, for doctorate degree student, how many articles need to be published before graduation?
One at the moment. All right, one article. In other universities, I think they need to have two, but at UUM at the moment, I think it's one article. Okay. Do we still
Okay.
have Dr. Siti Nazwa in online? And another thing is WADA and the others, if you are not just UUM, if you are students from other universities, one thing that should be your responsibility is when you register, you would get the academic handbook with the rules and regulations, and also your responsibilities and also administrative matters. You would find what are the requirements that you need to do in order that you graduate, whether academic matters or administrative matters, just such as paying your tuition fees every semester to activate your student status. All right. And if you have not activated your student status for 3 semesters, you would be terminated, meaning that you're not serious with your study, you're not interested, you don't want to find a financial means to make sure that, so I think that is very important to be familiarized, read about your academic handbook, what PhD programs is all about. That is very important. You cannot just focus on, okay, this is the sampling, but then you forget about your registration, you forget about the processes. That is part and parcel of any study, whether you at UUM or other universities overseas. I did my PhD at the University of Nottingham, United Kingdom, and they have very special academic handbook, but they call it something like research students and supervisors, something like that. And I read that every year to remind me all the processes involved so that I can graduate. Okay. All right. Okay.
Doctor, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Doctor,
All right. Let's look.
I have one more question, Doctor.
Sorry,
Please.
Wada. Can you type in the chat box so that we'll give chance to other people? All right. I need to answer other questions as well. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, Wada. All right.
Okay.
Ahmad Shamil bin Abdul Rahim. Should we use Ali suggests or Ali suggested? Should it be in present or past? Very good question. Now, the typical conventional is past tense. Ali 2022 suggested, but, all right, there is a but here. It depends on what you are trying to tell. What is the purpose of that particular sentence? If, all right, if the purpose is trying to emphasize that you are in the same school of thought and that quotation or that citation has a very good relevance to what you are doing, you might want to use Ali 2022 suggests. But if it's just like background of the study, you want to show the pattern of the study, previous studies, then you can use past tense suggested. All right. Okay. But But of course, you cannot use simple present all the time. Ali 22 suggests this. Normally you use simple past, but there's another tense that you can use, which is present perfect, to show the relevance of what you are doing. For example, Ali 2022 has suggested. See, when you use present perfect, you are trying to say that Ali's work in 2022 has the relevance to what you are doing in your research at the present moment. So you use Ali 2022 has suggested that one of the main variables to be investigated, to be explored in this blended learning is what? And for your study, you have taken that suggestion. Okay, Ahmad Shamil, I hope I have answered your question. Okay, there's another one. Let me see. Thank you. Dr. Advisory. Someone is asking you in the chat. Oh, okay. I think I've answered that question. Thank you, Dr. Saidu Mansur. Can the student resubmit his article to the same journal that rejected it if he addresses their grey areas of great concern? Very interesting. Okay, now, normally rejection because of the focus, the scope of the journal has not included what you are writing. That's something to do with the content. No matter how you improve that article, if the content is still the same and it doesn't part of the scope of the journal, they're not going to accept your work. Okay, but if you believe that you have done quite a lot of revision to all those, and normally desk rejection, they give very simple. They are not going to give you very detailed unless accepted with revision. Then they give you a very good detail. So if you resubmit, I think you can still do it, but you would have to go through again the processes involved. Someone would evaluate and see. But first, the editor needs to see whether what you are writing is related to the scope and the level of writing is not really bad to the extent that lots of grammar problems, spelling problems, they couldn't understand what you're writing about, they can also reject that. Okay, Saidu Mansur, if you have done that and what you are writing is part of the scope of the journal, by all means, you can give it a try. Okay, Saidu Mansur. All right. Any more question? I'm checking. Okay, so this is from the organizer. Please take few minutes to fill in the survey. All right, so that would help us to improve all our workshops, especially my workshop as well. Ahmad asked, what is the difference between introduction research article and introduction in the thesis in terms of writing? Very interesting. In the thesis, the introduction might be a bit longer, but the writing that you have is I think almost similar, all right, but you're not going to have a lot of background to the studies being included. The important thing in article writing, research article writing for journals, when you write the introduction, it has to be straight to the point, all right, straight to the point. Even the first sentence must be related to the topic that you are doing. I think in the thesis, you might go maybe a bit general and then you go to very specific. That possible in thesis writing, all right? You have like very, general idea about that, and then only you go to specific. But I think a good one for an introduction in a research article, it has to be straight to the point. What is the topic of what you're writing? So if the research is about speech of request, then your first sentence must be about what is speech of request about in pragmatics, right? When you request or speech of refusal, you want to refuse and you study the native speakers of English, the way they refuse, and then you compare to how the Nigerian refuse to request and how Malaysians refuse to request in English. So in your introduction, you would have to straight away write about what is speech of request. Okay, what research mentioned about speech of request. You're not going to start about pragmatics is an area of discipline in applied linguistics which we look into the language in context. That is too general. We understand that when you study speech of refusal, how people refuse in different contexts, we are talking about pragmatic study. Remember, an article, a research article for journals, they are being read by specialists, by those people in that area. They would send it to those reviewers, professors in that area. In my case, I would get sometime a request from SAGE, SAGE, right? Their journals to review articles in academic writing, meaning research in academic writing. One of the reasons could be they see in the Pablon or they see in Scopus. I'm one of those with Dr. Naif published quite a number of articles on research in academic writing. And as a professional, then they would give you a similar area of study for you to review. Okay, all right, Ahmad, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, are there any more? I was so proud to be internet examiner during Viva. All right. Alhamdulillah, congrats to you. Okay, and then, okay. Right, any more questions? Okay, let me see. Share. Okay, we still have about 12 minutes. Oops. Right. So this is one of the things that we can also think about it, especially those who have the mental block or using your own excuse for not writing. You may not write well every day, but you can always edit a bad page, meaning that don't worry if you just write and write and write and then you find, oh, these mistakes, I forgot this spelling, okay, but if it's a blank page, meaning that you haven't done any typing, you can't edit a blank page, isn't it? Okay, so give yourself the benefit of doubt that you are able to write and then improve on your work as you develop yourself doing your PhD. There's nobody, even accomplished writers, I have with me now. What I meant is I'm in Kuala Lumpur attending, I'm chairing a research meeting, but one of my research team members, a professor who was able to publish 10 ISI, meaning Web of Science articles in a year, okay? And you can imagine the kind of work. But for us, even in 1 year, we can get 1 or 2, then we would feel very happy. But what I'm trying to say is that for every beginners, okay, especially all of you, most of you are PhD students, feel good about yourself, be confident that you are able to learn, okay? Remember that willingness to learn new things is a choice. Either you want it or you don't want it. The same thing. If you have started learning, doing your PhD, don't abandon the ship unless you have tried really best, right? You take care of your health, you take care of things around you, but make sure that you read a lot so that you can write a lot, okay? And always give yourself, you know, the opportunity to improve. So I always tell that, okay, this is my contact number, my UUM mail, and also my Gmail. Please introduce yourself, and then if there are any more questions that you would like to ask, you can do that. But please don't submit your thesis or anything to me. If it's, you know, some question, of course, I will entertain that question. Okay. What guidance can you give to help us follow the 3 levels? Ah, all right. Let me see your question. Chat. Okay. In the meantime, please fill in the survey form. Okay, this is from Mr. Siva R. Okay. What guidance can you give to help us follow the 3 levels? When I recheck my work, I tend to jump between the levels. That's interesting. Yes, that can happen because when we talk about conciseness, we talk about conciseness, cohesion, and coherence. They are interrelated actually, right? Unless you're talking about, if you go for the sentence level, then you are doing cohesion, that is level 2. Sentence level meaning you check whether one sentence is related to another sentence or not. Sometimes the next sentence is not related at all to your previous sentence, and we call it, as a reviewer, we call it choppy. CHOPPY, choppy meaning disconnected, you know, like jumping from one idea to another idea. So here we are talking about how to focus yourself when you try to follow the 3 levels of editing, all right? Even when I read students' work, normally my PhD students, before they submit, I would ask them to write 3 drafts of the whole thesis, right? So that during your viva, after your viva, you don't want to spend another 1 year for reviva or one major or lots of major correction. You just try your best to guide the PhD student and have minor correction. But then that requires a lot of work before you submit. So for the whole PhD thesis, normally under my supervision, they would have to go through 3 drafts of the whole thing. Okay, so again, back to that 3 levels. It's okay if you want to jump between the levels, but in terms of your energy, your focus of your work, it's better to read for after you have finished your manuscript and then put away maybe for 1 day, and then the next day you tell yourself, today I'm going to check just the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation, and the format of my writing, so that you can focus. You would only do that, okay? And then the next day, you would read again, but now your mind, okay, your mind would focus just on the connection, the discourse markers, or we call it conjunction. Sometimes you have the word like 10 students were interviewed for the research. Then, and then you put a full stop, then another group, and then I conducted a focus group interview. Now, for that particular 2 sentences, if I were the reviewer or if I were the editor, I would just combine those 2. So you can just say that 2 types of interviews were conducted, which involve a focus group interview with 6 students and a semi or in-depth interview with 3 participants of the study. See? So you make it at another level. I'm also trained by British Council to be IELTS trainer. So that is also, one of the things. I help students develop their writing as well as their speaking as well. How from band 5 you can increase to band 7.5. The same thing in terms of writing as well. I did have the experience of checking students' writing. Sometimes some of the staff also, they wanted to further their studies. So normally I would ask them, give me a sample of your writing or for some IELTS exercises. Let me have a look and then give you a very honest opinion about your level of writing. Is it at primary level, secondary school level, or is your writing at undergraduate level, or is it at postgraduate level? Now, postgraduate level, your writing should be analytical, all right, and also comparative, contrastive, and has the, synergy of your ideas, okay? So in terms of your writing, it cannot be too simple. So the length, the complexity of the sentence structure gives a lot of clues to your level of English proficiency or your level of writing. So maybe you need some proofreader if you can afford it, all right? Or if you are able to rewrite yourself and save lots of money, you can also do that, all right? Okay, we have received an alert to have a group photo before the QR code, all right? So, Wan Miza, can you give us the slide for the seminar? All right, I'll pass it to the Awang Salleh Graduate School, Babalola, with the references as well. Okay, recording, that you have to refer to the Awang Salleh Graduate School. All right, so Puan Miza, can we all switch on our video? Can we take a group photo? Up, now is the QR code. Shall we take a group photo first and then you can show the QR code? Okay, then I can see. Right. All right. It's been really an honor and I feel really humble that I've been given the opportunity to share with you what I've known or practiced a little bit. Alhamdulillah, it's been 30 years in this academic and I love it and I love meeting new people. Okay, so who's taking the photo? Miza, is it you?
Yes, doctor.
All right, please let us know when to smile. If not, everyone would be thinking about their article. Okay, how many pages do we have? All right, let us know.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, smile, everyone.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, doctor.
Okay, right. So, thank you very much, everybody. Of course, we still have 5 more minutes, but I would like to take this opportunity to wish everyone, whether staff or students, all the best in your studies. And let me just tell you that we keep on developing ourselves. I remember learning all about English language when I did my applied linguistics at the University of Texas in El Paso, USA, and then master's at the University of Reading, UK, and then after that, PhD. The areas is all about English, all right? So I'm in that area. I can see my friend from University IIUM, Dr. Liza. Nice to have you from International Islamic University, my student as well. All right, thank you everyone. Don't forget to write the survey form. Okay, right. Maybe one or two questions if you do have any burning question you want to ask, or you are happy.
Doctor, can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Doctor, as a PhD student, to write an article from your thesis, is it from the research question or from the objective of the study you develop your research article?
Well, you have done your research, you have completed your research, but then you decide, maybe you can work with your supervisor to decide which of the research questions, meaning with the relevant research findings, would be publishable. You have materials that are suitable for publication. Normally, I would tell my students, for this particular research question, yes, go for Q1. But for this research question with that kind of data, maybe Q3, all right? With another research question, you can try Q2, all right? So that would be with the supervisors. But sometimes another strategy would be, if you have 4 research questions, you can have 4 articles. And then for the first research question, you can always target for the Q1. And then if it's get rejected, and sometimes they give you some feedback as well, you can work on it and resubmit in Q1 or Q2, right? If you haven't scanned the QR code, you can do that now. And please fill in the survey. We really appreciate that. All right. I hope I have answered your question. I
Doctor.
know that 2 hours cannot do justice to everything, but I hope most of you have got something a bit something new that you can try and practice. Okay, so thank you very much. I really appreciate your excellent questions and also your attendance. You have my email address, so it's okay. You can ask any questions that you feel, but it's just that I'm not specialist in IT. I can comment about the language, right? So if you can write in a simple way, that would get cited and also would get published. Okay, everyone. Alhamdulillah. All right. You take care. So I'll see you around. And all right, so please stay tuned to Awang Salleh Graduate School Facebook for more updates and links to the upcoming workshop, right? The near future, there will be a workshop on stress management, very interesting. Stress management, maintain your self-care. So I hope you would attend the next workshop, which is very good for your mental health. How do you function as a student, as a mother, as a husband, as a father, right? Meaning managing yourself. It's very, very important. Okay, set your target and be committed, be determined. PhD is not a lifelong work. It is a big task, but you just make sure that within 3 to 4 years, if you're a full-time student, you would make sure that with the scope, all right, you will work very hard and inshallah, God willing, you will be successful and appreciate the processes involved in getting your PhD. So I wish you again all the best in your future undertakings, and have fun, right? Have fun writing your drafts, and publish lots and lots. I'm also working on that as well. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. Thank you to Awang Salleh Graduate School again. All right, it's been a pleasure conducting a workshop with everybody. Thank you guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Thank you,
wabarakatuh.
Doctor.
Thanks, doctor, very much. God bless
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, doctor.
Well done,
Thank you,
doctor.
Doctor.
See you
It's good to
later.
see you again.
All right, see you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Thank you, Asma Liza.
Thank you, dear doctor.
Terima kasih, Doktor. Assalamualaikum.
Sama-sama.
Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum.
Share.
Doctor.
What else? Yep. Muchas gracias. My Spanish is my third language, actually.
Alhamdulillah, doctor.
Alhamdulillah. I don't know how to answer that in Korean. You're welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. All right.
Thank you, Doctor. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome, Uchini, Angela. Salam. Make sure you fill in the survey form. All right. You're welcome, Dr. Bye-bye Zari. Thank you for attending the workshop. Terima kasih, Miza, Balkis.
Sama-sama, doktor.
Okay. Okay, saya leave dulu nah.
Ya, baik. Baik, doktor.
Alright,
Okay.
baik. Thank you very much. Nanti I will give you the slide with the references. Saya akan senaraikan references semua tu. Thank
Okay.
you, Arni Arif. Alright, insyaAllah. Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum.